We have seen a number of investigations. There's some investigations that are still ongoing, including an investigation by the Texas Rangers. DPS announcing just the other day that they're going to investigate their own actions when it comes to the shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. We are joined by State Senator Roland Gutierrez now, who part of his state Senate district is Uvalde. He's been joined us here before. Thank you, Senator, for joining us again. I want to talk about all these investigations and all the things that we're hearing and we're seeing. Do any of these add up to change? Do any of these hold teeth that we're going to see something done in the wake of what happened at Robb Elementary?
Well, thank you, Steve. It all depends how you define getting something done. It remains to be seen that this governor is going to take us into a special session to create some common sense gun solutions like raising the age limit. So I don't think that that's going to happen, even though we're 23 days away from school starting. And that's kind of the biggest thing that I want. And so far as accountability from the response, it's my hope that in this next session, we'll be able to certainly get some issues with regard to school hardening and get some real money, more than we did in 2019, which was $100 million. But you're right. Unfortunately, these investigations, there's still a lot more talking, and not a lot of getting things done. Let's be real clear. This governor, Steve McCraw, direct reports to Abbott. Abbott can get all the accountability he wants. He can fire people if he wants, but he has yet to do so. He has yet to even ask for yet the simplest of responses.
Steve McCraw, of course, the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety.
And that leads me into our next question here. You are suing the Department of Public Safety. Talk about the reasoning for that suit against DPS and what you're hoping to find out as a result.
Well, very early on, I, like you and every other media station, issued and an organization issued open records request. They didn't respond to mine. They didn't even make an exception to mine, which is they asked for an additional 30 days to study it. So in essence, they had to give me the items that I was requesting by law. That didn't happen. And so we filed a lawsuit. We go to court on August 4th. DPS is seeking to quash that lawsuit and quash the subpoena of Steve McCraw. We're fighting against that. We'll have that discussion on the 4th of August. It's my hope. We need to be able to get accountability from them. We know that there was 91 DPS troopers, majority of which were Operation Lone Star, on scene. 12 of them were in the hallway. There was a Texas Ranger walking around in the back of his vest, said Texas Ranger. That person was on the phone with somebody. I want to know who that somebody was, how high up the food chain at DPS it went, to determine why in the hell they didn't make the decision to go in. What did they tell him to do or not do? And so there's a lot of unanswered questions. This report told us what we already knew. And the only thing I appreciated about it is that it stopped pointing fingers like Steve McCraw has. Now we need to get to the command and control issues. Who was truly calling the shots, or in this case, unfortunately, unwilling to call the shots?
And State Senator, I think we could also get into the discussion about open records, but that's probably a whole different discussion to have, and just how hard it is to get open records in the state of Texas. But there has been no answers, no accountability, a lot of frustration. I have never seen a mass shooting investigation like this where we still don't know exactly everything that happened. And like you said, the questions you still have. Are you getting that same frustration from the families that you talk to? And what do you think accountability looks like for them, for the families who have lost loved ones in Robb Elementary?
Yeah, let's be clear. This isn't me trying to stoke a fire here. You've seen the families up in arms at the council meetings, up in arms at the school meetings. They want answers. They haven't gotten any answers. And part and parcel of this problem is Steve McCraw constantly telling them different narratives for the first 2 or 3 weeks. As he testified in front of the Senate, we still got different narratives that turned out to be falsehoods. As they submitted a report to Alert, which is this nonprofit entity that was supposed to do a report, we got yet another false narrative. That is what has led to the complete distrust of this community with regard to law enforcement. I don't blame them. I'm here to help them in every way I can, and that's why I filed this lawsuit, to try to get down to the bottom of the answers as to who was in charge or who should have been in charge. We still have not heard any of that information, and it's my hope that we'll be able to get that through the court system.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think Steve McCraw should resign as head of DPS or should be fired?
People need accountability, and accountability, let's not mince words. Accountability starts with Pete Arredondo making an appropriate decision to either resign or be fired from his position. It may be others at different law enforcement, top levels of law enforcement. Certainly, Steve McCraw needs to truly look at himself, turn the mirror on himself when he starts talking about abject failures. Because here, Operation Lone Star, with all of the resources on the border, failed these kids.
And that's something that I just keep thinking about with all the confusion, all these reports that have come out in the last 2 months, but then questions raised about those reports from officials, from law enforcement. I know how confusing it has been for us to get the information out there, but I think about these families who are just looking for answers as to what happened to their loved ones. And I'm curious, with your communication with those families, do you feel confident with all the investigations underway that they are going to get answers about what happened that day?
Sadly, I don't. I don't, because we are up against a system that Steve alluded to with regard to open records in Texas. It's almost like we're living in Russia or Venezuela or some country where you have a dictator, suppressing information to the public. And I know that sounds harsh and it sounds extreme, but it is absolutely true when it comes to getting information from law enforcement. If they want to stop the dissemination of that information, they have a means by which to do it. We have to address this into the future, because when you don't have a system of transparency, you don't have democracy. And I know you guys have been fighting this for years, session after session. We must get that done. But for these families, all I can assure them is that for my part, I'm going to make sure that I fight through the court system so that we can get some kind of redress and response and ultimate accountability. For their part, they need to look at it. For the rest of the entirety of Texas needs to look at Greg Abbott, because he can have accountability. He can look at the people that directly report to him and say, I want these questions answered. I want to know why in the world Greg Abbott hasn't done anything about it at all.
I want to ask you one final question here, State Senator. It has to do with the Uvalde County District Attorney, Christina Mitchell-Busby. She's the head of the Resiliency Center. We've done stories on families that haven't received the money that they would like to, that they need to pay their bills. You've tried to get her removed as the head of the Resiliency Center in Uvalde. Any movement on that right now?
So I'm glad to report positively that essentially the mayor and I wrote a letter to Abbott and said, let's give that over to the Texas Department of Emergency Management, because they could get the right kind of resources and clinical help that's needed and the kind of staffing that's needed. She didn't have, in my opinion, the staffing that was required to be able to do that and do her job as well. And so I heard the same complaints that you were hearing. So the county leaders have now taken that responsibility and giving it over to an ecumenical group. And so they're running all of the casework out of there. So we're going to monitor that. We're going to continue to monitor that. My focus now has been on VOCA, which is the Victims of Crime Act funds, which her office is also doing. I am very concerned that families are only getting 2 weeks of lost wages. And so we're working family by family, trying to make sure that we get more money towards them so that if they've lost their jobs, we can at least get them their money through VOCA. And so we're going to keep at it. At the end of the day, we shouldn't be asking parents who have lost their children. No one's getting rich here. That's not what this is about. This is about families that have lost their little babies and they simply can't go back to work. This is about families whose children are injured, and those children are so afraid they don't want to see their parents leave, even to go to the bathroom. Those are the stories that I hear daily when I talk to these parents.
So much to follow, even outside of all the multiple investigations that are ongoing. State Senator Roland Gutierrez, thanks for being here.
Thank you both so much.
Take care.